What's up, YouTubers? Coming back at you with another knife video, looking at a Kizer knife. This is the Mini Sheepdog Vanguard line, which is their less expensive. So you have your Tangram, which is like their budget. Your middle range is the Vanguard. There's my CK gun, of course. And then you have the good old higher end Kizers as well. So this one is a smaller version of the Sheepdog that I did a review on previously on the channel with the titanium handles and S35 and all that good noise. So let me turn off that so it doesn't bother us during the video. So they made a smaller version of this one, of the little Sheepdog, and it is teeny. I mean, it's way smaller than I thought it was going to be. Then I remembered the original version wasn't very big, so why do we need to make a smaller one? I think a lot of people actually wanted a larger version. I like the smaller version, or the original version the best. I think it's the best size, but so this is a cool little flipper though. I definitely like it. It's been a very fun fidget knife, we'll call it. And you know what I'm talking about when I say fidget knife. Knives that you like to sit and flip and mess around with while you're doing other things like watching TV and things of that nature, but is it an actual like EDC knife that I would carry? I don't know. Let's get into the video. So it comes in this kind of packaging, your typical Kizer Vanguard. You get the box, you get some literature here, and you do get a cleaning cloth, which is great. I love these cleaning cloths. Oh, look at that. There's actually a patch in here. Oh, that's cool. Look at that little guy. Little patch of the Mini Sheepdog. That's pretty neat. I bet a lot of people don't even know what's in there, so now you do. If you buy one, make sure you get that little patch out of there. Alright, so price-wise, let's start out with that. $69.99 is your typical price on this. Or excuse me, $69 even is your typical price. You may find it a little bit less, a little bit more. Let's go over your basic specs. Overall length is 5.77 inches. 2.63 inches on the blade with a 2.5 inch cutting edge. You do have a nice sharpening choil here. 1.25 inches on your blade width. Your thickness is 0.11. VG10 the blade steel with a cleaver, sheep's foot, Warncliffe, whatever. I'd say it's more of a cleaver blade than anything, but flat ground with the satin finish, and it is a handle length of 3.14 inches, and your handle width is 1.125 with a, handle width is actually measuring this way, and that is 1.125 inches. The handle thickness is 0.45. How thick it is that way. Actually, you know what? I don't think that's even right either. Let's verify that. I don't doubt that the thickness, but the handle width is what I'm talking about. No, because that's less than an inch. There's no way this knife closed is only 1.125. Yeah, it's 1.4, so that is wrong. So it's 1.4 inches wide when closed because of that cleaver blade shape. And then it does have a slim handle, less than a ½ inch, which is always preferred by me. Black G10 also comes in a bright blue G10 and a tan G10. They have that nice blue pivot color there, so I opted for the black. Your weight on this one is 3.17 ounces. Designer is Chris Conway. Sheepdog Defense. Alright, so let's go ahead and show you an in-pocket shot here. With the pocket clip, you can see that it's not deep carry, but it's not obnoxiously sticking out of the pocket. You have a good amount, so it's actually not a bad clip at all. And the clip has good retention, and it goes on and off the pants. So the clip is definitely a winner. It is tip-up only, right-handed carry only as well. Alright, so Mini Sheepdog. It is, like I said, tiny. Here is a example next to this little Tangram Amarillo. And then I'll bring in the Spyderco Delica that I kind of keep on the table to do size comparisons because it's such a common knife. So it's much smaller than the Delica. The Mini Sheepdog and the Amarillo are about the same size as far as handle. You obviously get more cutting edge on this one because of the cleaver style blade versus the kind of Bowie style blade on that one. But I'll tell you what, this knife is fun. It's a fun little guy. You can get a 4-finger grip on this. Well, I'm not going to call it 4-finger. We're going to call it 3 3/4 for my medium-sized hands. So you can actually get a decent grip on this knife and use it, and it's not too small. I wish it was a little bigger, but then I would just get the regular size Sheepdog. So, you know, I get why they shrunk it down to this size, and I believe they're actually going to come out with a larger one. When I did the review on this one, which should go live before this one. It may not. I commented that this handle was too cramped and too small. And what's interesting about that is I think they're about the same handle length. Yeah, I'd say they're very, very similar. So this handle works better than that one, and I think it's because it has a much larger finger choil right here than this smaller one that kind of cramps your hand a little bit. So I'm thinking that's why it works. I'm not sure, but it definitely feels better in the hand, and you can actually get almost a 4-finger grip. If you have smaller hands, you definitely would. Guys with larger hands are looking at a 3.5 to even a 3, depending on how big your hands are. Now there is no jimping up here on the blade, which would have been nice because you can't really get a full grip. So it would have been nice to have a little jimping there. Other than that, this is a good rendition of the Sheepdog, just smaller. It flips super good. It's got ceramic bearings on it, ceramic detent. So it just really flies out, and the detent is just dialed in perfectly, and that flipper tab is nice and big. So it's just super easy to flip. So like I said, it's really fun. It's a fun knife to flip and to fidget with. As an EDC, I did carry it for about a week off and on as kind of a backup blade to a larger knife because it's small. The issue I have with it carrying is it's wide in the pocket. Like I mentioned, it's 1.4 inches wide, so it takes up a little bit of space. Where it did well for me is in my 511 pants was in the coin pocket, and that worked really good. You know, it was a good spot for it. The cleaver blade shape, I mean, how much usefulness does it have in EDC? I mean, it cuts things. It's not obnoxiously thick blade stock like some cleavers are. It's just a hair over 0.1, so that's not bad. And your thinness behind the edge on this one, I haven't really measured this yet. 0.255, so it's not too thick behind the edge either. But it's not exactly a useful blade shape outside of food prep, you know, chopping up onions and stuff like that. But this knife's not really big enough for that. So, you know, the one thing I struggle with this knife is where does it fit in an EDC? Who's gonna use it? I mean, if you just use it for light duty EDC, which I do most of the time, you know, it's going to do fine. It's not a great food prep knife. It would be a good box cutter, a good box opener. So if you're cutting lots of cardboard, you've got almost a straight edge here, just a little bit of belly and curve to it, not much, and you know, it's definitely a good box opener. So that's one way you can do it. But again, more than anything, it's just a fun little knife. It's a fun little fidget knife. It's a good conversation piece, I guess. You know, $69, not going to break the bank. So I definitely think it's a fun one to own, and if you like the Sheepdog and want something smaller, this is definitely a good way to go. It's just really addictive to flip. I sit here and just, like I said, this has been my go-to fidget knife when I sit on the couch and watch TV with my wife, and I sit and flip knives, and she loves it. By now she's actually gotten used to it, but she used to hate it so much. But this is kind of the one I grab and mess around with and flip. So, you know, as a practical EDC knife, nah, not really. I don't think it was designed that way, though. It's just kind of a cool design with the cleaver blade shape, and you know, it works well, and Kizer did a great job executing it. But if you really want, you know, the cleaver blade shape is for an EDC, I might go with the regular size Sheepdog personally. This one is a little small, but you know, it works. It'll do the job. If you want a EDC knife, you know, that you're cutting open a lot of cardboard, be good for that. VG10 is pretty decent steel. It's easy to sharpen. And has a decent edge retention, so it's not, you know, the worst steel or anything like that, but it's definitely middle range these days. Interesting that the Deltas still come with them kind of standard, you know, but there's trade-offs to all steels, right? Ease of sharpening versus edge retention, corrosion resistance. VG10 is one of the most corrosion resistant steels out there, so it is good in that retrospect. So you got to kind of weigh those options when you're looking for a blade steel on an EDC knife. I prefer ones that are held a little bit better edge, that aren't terribly difficult to sharpen, but you know, they may take a little longer to sharpen, but I've got, you know, the ability to do that. I've got the means to do it, so I don't mind it. I would trade that over a steel like a ACR13 or something that's going to dull really quickly and have to be sharpened all the time. I don't actually love sharpening. I do it because it's a necessity. I don't sit and like do it for hours. It just doesn't excite me. It kind of bores me a little bit. And I like the results I get and such, but you know, it's not something I love like a lot of knife guys do. So I tend to go with the higher end steel, so I don't have to do that. But anyway, we got off a little steel tangent there. That's all right. VG10 is not bad. It is easy to sharpen. You can touch it up on a sharp maker pretty easy, which I do like that. for some steels that I don't have to get out my full Wicked Edge or Canadian Work Sharp or anything. I can just get my Sharp Maker rods and touch it up, and I do like that about VG10. So, but it's a fun little knife, guys. I definitely think it's worth checking out for 69 bucks. Not going to break the bank. The bright blue is really a cool looking color. I like this black with that blue collar. I thought it was a nice accent. And also available in Coyote, like I mentioned. I'll put a link in the description where you can get it from Amazon. Any questions or comments on this video, leave them down below, and we'll see you on the next one.